Princess Diana, the Servant Leader
by Catherine Fudal and Josephine Miller.
On July 29, 1981, the world gathered together to watch the wedding of the century, the marriage of Prince Charles of Wales, son of the Queen of England, to Lady Diana Spencer, daughter of the Earl of Spencer. The young princess was the ideal bride to modernize the monarchy and make the royal family more appealing to British citizens and the world alike.
Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1st, 1961 in Norfolk, England, to Frances and Johnny Spencer. The youngest of 4 children, she was known as a sweet and caring girl. She received the title of lady when her grandfather died in 1975, and her father inherited the earldom of Spencer. She and her family moved to the Spencers' ancestral estate, Althorpe, where she met Prince Charles when she was 16. In 1979, she began her new job as a kindergarten teacher and nanny.
In 1981, Prince Charles proposed to Diana, and they were married a few months later. About a year after the wedding, Diana gave birth to their first son, William. Despite having to raise a child, Diana quickly applied herself as a prominent figure in the awareness of world issues.
Diana was one of the first individuals in the public eye to work with AIDS awareness. This fatal disease was discovered in the 1980s, and its cause was connected with Africans, homosexuals, and heroin addicts. Because of their prejudicial beliefs, few doctors were willing to investigate the definitive cause of AIDS, or the way in which it was transmitted. Due to this lack of knowledge, the majority of people mistakenly believed that AIDS could be transmitted simply by touching a carrier.
Princess Diana was the first government figure to use her influence as a leader to assist the victims of AIDS. In 1987, she opened an AIDS ward in the Middlesex Hospital in London. She touched patients to dispel the misconception that AIDS could be contracted by touch.
She met 10 patients. She shook hands with all of them. When appropriate, when they were in bed, she sat on their bed next to them and was very natural indeed. To see a person in public life coming to a ward, sitting on patients' beds, touching patients, shaking hands with them, exchanging words with them, of course that does help tremendously to dispel any remaining sort of myths and anxieties. Of course, it's a very useful visit in that sense.
Well, very nice. Yeah, it was nice to see you. Thanks for coming.
The princess also visited an AIDS ward for children in Harlem, New York.
She picked up a little boy who has AIDS and hugged him. This community and this hospital has been delighted with this charming young woman who showed with great sensitivity and compassion and interest and concern for poor children.
Diana showed her love for all people and her unwavering strength in the face of death and disease by her care for the victims of AIDS. She was one of the first individuals to educate the world about the disease and show that those with AIDS are still human beings and deserve compassion.
Another major world issue that Princess Diana sought to bring to international attention was the destruction caused by the anti-personnel landmines in countries like Angola and Bosnia. These landmines, reminders of since-resolved conflicts, are located in the areas of the countries where the poor live. The men, women, and children are constantly at risk of losing a limb while living their everyday lives.
To raise awareness for this pressing issue, Diana visited the country of Bosnia-Herzegovina. Her deep concern for the injured was evident as she spent time talking to and comforting the victims of the landmines that she met. She spoke to them as if they were longtime friends and lifted their spirits with her kind words. In Angola, the princess walked through an active minefield to show her support for the movement to ban and remove landmines, putting her life in danger to prove to the world that no one life is more valuable than another.
Diana's endorsement of the landmine ban challenged the British aristocracy and embodied her belief that the welfare of people is of greater importance than political agendas. Her outright support of this movement angered British ministers. Despite this, Diana persisted in her beliefs, and as a result, her unfailing support brought the minefields into the focus of the world.
Just as Princess Diana supported AIDS awareness and the ban against landmines, she also promoted dozens of other charitable causes throughout her life. Chief among these were leprosy, depression, and bulimia. To bring attention to the pain and suffering leprosy caused, Diana visited many hospitals where patients were being treated, including wards in India and Zimbabwe.
Princess Diana struggled with mental illness throughout her adult life. She suffered from depression, self-mutilated, and was bulimic. Because of her first-hand knowledge of mental disease, Diana gave many speeches on depression and bulimia to educate and encourage others to support the mentally ill.
One of the main causes of Princess Diana's depression and anxiety was the paparazzi's unending harassment. They stalked her and constantly intruded on her personal life. On August 31st, 1997, Princess Diana's car crashed in a Paris tunnel while she tried to evade the photographers that followed her. She died later that evening as a result of the injuries she received in the crash.
The world mourned the loss of their beloved princess. Diana's death, although tragic, contributed to the increasing popularity of the causes she worked so hard to bring to the world's attention. Her legacy as the people's princess lived on in the people she helped and the charities she aided. Her sons, William and Harry, followed her example of public service by supporting the same causes their mother had helped and starting charities of their own.
Princess Diana, although a member of the British monarchy, was not a typical leader in the political sense of the word. She was a servant leader, subject to the needs of the people of the world. She used her wealth to donate to charities and to travel to foreign countries to support the needy in person.
I seem to have an enormous amount of media that follow me around the world, so I feel that they may be able to raise the awareness of the difficulties in the country that we've arrived in. I'm very happy to do photo calls if it raises the issue, but only on that basis, and it's certainly nothing in it for me.
Princess Diana's greatest legacy is not her fashionable clothes or beautiful smile, but her work with the needy of the world. She pioneered the AIDS movement, touching the patients to show that AIDS is not contractable by physical contact.
She traveled to countries like Bosnia to visit the victims of landmine explosions and walked through an active minefield in Angola to show her support for the ban of landmines. Throughout her life, Diana was patron of over 100 charities, and after her death, the Diana Princess of Wales Memorial Fund was founded. She is an inspiration to all those who wish to create new foundations to help others.
Unlike royals who only speak about the charities they fund, Diana practiced what she preached. She traveled around the world to visit the people that she aided. She showed them kindness and respect through her encouraging words and gave them hope. Diana's legacy as the servant leader will live on in the hearts of those she lived to care for, the people of the world.
Goodbye, England's rose. May you ever grow in our hearts. You were the grace that placed itself where lives were torn apart. And it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never fading with the sunset when the rain set in. Your candles burned out long before your legend ever will.